Hey,
Hey, Bex, how you feeling?
All right, wait.
I'm feeling amazing.
Look at you, the flowers and everything is very nice.
It was my birthday
It's your birthday today?
yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday.
29.
I was gonna say anniversary of 25, right?
You just made me 4 years younger. That's amazing. Thank you.
I'm here to help.
Thank you.
I'm here to help.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi,
Good morning.
Jason.
Good evening.
Hey, gang, what's up? How y'all feeling?
Good. How you feeling, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Am I dark? You seem brighter than I do. Bex, you seem like, is that your natural luminescence? You're just like much brighter than I am. I should get light.
I actually learned how to do this on Once Upon a Time. It's basically the light just comes from the inside out. It's an acting technique that I learned.
I'm working on that. Instead of breathing, I just need to emanate light.
Definitely. I can teach you. Actually, Sean taught me, so you're friends. You can figure it out together.
I'm luminescent.
How are you? Out of me?
Yeah. How are you? Were you saying that you were feeling brighter this week, or were you? Because I felt like this week a lot of people and everyone hit a bit of a waterhole hanging out. Like, are you feeling okay?
Yeah, I mean, look, I have the benefit. I'm doing a show. I'm supposed to be unemployed right now. I know that we're lucky, knock wood, the show's coming back. So I know that there's a job waiting for me on the other side. So the big question is when that's going to be. So that piece that we all are worried about, when will my financial life kick in again? I'm kind of prepared for that. I just feel like as actors, we're like, we have no illusions about the instability of life, whereas everybody else has like just now woken up to the fact that it can change at a moment's notice. We're painfully aware of it at all times, and even when you've got a job, you know that it's gonna break for a while at least. So you gotta stash where you can.
Everyone now knows the horrible feeling of the instability of an actor's life across the world.
And I feel like everyone's learning what it's like to be an out-of-work actor and a stay-at-home mum.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Cheers.
Yes. Cheers.
I will cheers that all day.
I'd like to also cheers the fact that you've got job security. What's that like?
It's relatively new to me, but it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing when it becomes fun employment. That's a good time.
Well, I have.
Sorry, go on.
No, just say I have a confession to make. I was a bit drunk the one epic time that I got to meet you and your lovely wife at Sean's house. And I don't know if I conveyed to you what a massive Grey's Anatomy fan I am. I don't know how drunk I was and how cool I was trying to be. So I don't even know if I brought it up, but I am a massive Grey's Anatomy fan. And all the fans from Once Upon a Time love the fact that I tweeted about Grey's and how it gave me hashtag all the feels. So I'm a massive, massive fangirl.
Yeah, there's definitely some kind of weird crossover between the audiences between Once Upon a Time and Grey's, I feel like, because whenever Sean and I, shout each other out, there's like mad love, and it's some of the same people. But no, you were very cool the first time we met, actually.
Was I really?
Get
that, Sean. I was cool.
You were super good people, and I do not recall, it wasn't awkward in any way, and you didn't throw yourself under the bus in any way. I had no idea that you did yourself. Like that.
That's how you know I'm a good actress. It might be cool. Be cool. Cool.
Keep it tight.
I'm kidding. I'm very excited.
Have you spoken to people from your show? I mean, I'm guessing you're like a bit of a papa bear to the other actors on Station 19 that are maybe not as seasoned as you. So are they calling you up, sort of looking for what's happening? Are you finding yourself taking that fatherly role with the cast a little bit?
I mean, I kind of, I'm a little bit of for better or for worse, the elder statesman. You know what I mean? Being Miguel Sandoval, been there. And I sort of ended up in that big brother thing, just whether I liked it or not. And I had no problem taking it on, but sometimes I think they don't want me to. Because
nobody wants the dad to be a dad, you want to be wild.
But it was weird because it was also because I'd been in Shondaland longer than anybody else. And I was trying to explain to them from like day one, I was like, yo, like real talk, this place is not like other places that you're used to working. It's going to be a little different. Like number one rule, don't be an asshole. Number two, like almost more than be good at your job is don't be an asshole.
Be a good person. Yeah.
You can get a second, and they'll give people a second chance even when they screw up, as long as the screw up was honest and you're not trying to be an asshole. If if you're being self-destructive, they will find a way to work with you. They will try to. If you're actually trying to destroy other people, you got to go. There's no time for that. And so
that's great. So, bye.
Yeah. So I mean, but no, nobody's hit me up about COVID-19, about the shutdown, because they're all much smarter people than me. And so they know the show's picked up. They know the show's come back at some time, but we touch base, and we've all made a point to catch up. In fact, we got lucky. We Oak, Okriete, who plays Dean on the show, who a lot of people know him. If you don't know Station 19, he was the original Hercules Mulligan and Madison in Hamilton.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Of Hamilton, which is literally makes him, like, depending on where we are, as soon as that drops in the room, he's instantly the coolest person in the room. As soon as that little tidbit drops out, and he's never the one to drop it. So like, one of us will mention it, and suddenly like every person is like eyes on him, and we're all just background. But he, along with one of our fire techs in the show, who is a battalion chief, Albert Ward, Chief Al and Oak coordinated, and four of us, Oak, Jana Lee Ortiz, who plays Andy on the show, Jay Hayden, who plays Travis on the show, and myself, went and caught up with a bunch of the fire department and police department.
That's what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I saw the Instagram of that, and I was I want you to tell us a little bit about that for somebody who didn't see it.
No, it was really fantastic and beautiful. I mean, it was the second time they did it. So I mean, I think a lot of people, if you're watching the news, you've seen instances where fire departments and police departments show up to kind of celebrate healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, and the volunteers in hospitals as they're doing shift changes. Literally just show up and applaud them. And it's become a thing because, these people are grinding. I mean, look, fire department, police department, they're used to, when they go to work, there's a level of danger involved, but you usually know what that, especially with the fire department, you can calculate the risk of running into a burning building. What's the structure made of? How big's the fire? Yada, yada, yada. You got an idea of what you're running into. Healthcare workers save lives, and that's the heroic part of doctors and nurses, but they don't usually risk their lives just by showing up. Just by showing up to work, they're putting their lives on the line for the rest of us. And so, game recognized game, they just been showing up and applaud them as they go in. So we, drove out there. We did it a couple different times. Oak and I did it a couple of times, and then Jane and Jay joined us the last time. And the funny part is that the doctors and nurses, they live with people with COVID-19 all day. They're up in their face. So social distancing is not a thing in their world. They don't do that on a day-to-day basis. So while we're like maintaining 6 and 10 feet, they're like hugging on each other and taking pictures and selfies and everything. And I'm like, y'all shouldn't you spread out a little bit? And they're like, they're like, because they're in the deep end of the pool. It's like, that's like, telling a firefighter who just ran out of like the towering inferno to worry about the campfire. He's like, that's not a problem for me. I got it.
I got it.
And do they all appreciate their TV counterparts, presumably coming out and kind of cheering them on? I mean, I'm sure everyone knows when you're working on something, if somebody who does that job for real, they always want to kind of come up and say, in the real world, what we do is this. How are the firefighters with you guys? Do they get it's TV world and therefore there's a little bit of separation from reality?
The biggest note that we get is that the fire department guys that we'll talk to will say on sight unseen, they'll be like, "Oh, I actually dig that show," and that's been a big.
That's a big compliment.
They'll tell you the heartbeat to think you're bullshit. If they think they have they're like, "I don't know you, I don't care." They don't,
Yeah.
It's with the funny part is it's a couple different things with Grey's Anatomy. It's always, well, my wife watches it, my girlfriend watches it, so, if it's on, I'll peep it a little bit, I'll check it out. But they know every episode, they quote who's who. I'm like, right, I got you. It's your girlfriend, right, copy that.
Can I ask you some fan questions about your show? Because I have a confession to make. Don't hate me. but I have yet to start Station 19. I'm going to do it. I know. But that I've been saving it so I can crush it. But I was wondering, just as a fan, because like I didn't get to do that. Like, I think it's insane to leave a show and leave a family and go and do a spin-off. It's a huge compliment to you and a testament to you that you were taken on like that. I think it's really exciting because Shondaland is an amazing land to live in, and I think it's really cool. But I was wondering, just as a fan, like, was it weird to leave this amazing family and then go off and create a new one? And I mean, I have to say, I'm really glad you get to like dance back in and come back in. Otherwise, that would be really painful that you just left. Like, I'm so glad that you and Bailey are still together. That would be so upsetting to me if you just like, because that's so not what Dr. Ben would do. Warren wouldn't just exit stage left. He's like one of the most kindest, goodest people, just like you are in the world.
Miss Carl.
Basically playing yourself.
It's acting. It's all fake. No,
Was it a weird transition, or was it easy? What was it like? Tell me.
You hit on exactly the thing. The fact that, because my immediate concern was, Chandra and I had this thing. When Chandra and I fall into a scene, it's just the two of us. It's literally like riding the funnest bicycle you've ever had. It's like the easiest. It's the easiest.
Like a ride. That's awesome.
Like, knock wood, they kind of give directors, they say, well, unless there's something crazy happening in the scene, just let Jason and Chandra do their thing and just get out of the way, just shoot it and find, and because we have really, I've been playing Ben Warren on and off for 10 years now.
Bloody hell.
Insane. Like 6 years of that, I was a recurring guest star.
And then decade.
I became, or 6 or 7 of it. And then I became, and I was doing other shows the whole time I was doing it.
Right.
I was in Hawaii shooting off the map, and then I was on another ABC show called Mistresses that aired in the summer.
Yeah.
But basically, my first concern was Chandra and I built this relationship, and that relationship was really important to me, both as an actor and as a fan of the show. You know what I mean? So I really was like, how's this work? Like, exactly what you were saying. I was like, Ben can't just cut and run. That's not really, doesn't make sense to me. And then also as an actor, I'm like, Grey's Anatomy is a big 800-pound gorilla that never comes along, that it'll end when it wants to end.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
It's not going to get canceled. They'll choose to finish. You know what I mean? And that's
the record. Isn't the record like you're like a year or two away from the longest running medical drama or something?
No, it is now.
It is the number one.
ER did 15, and we surpassed ER last season, I think. So
now you're on
the longest
16.
running medical drama in TV, in prime time.
I actually auditioned for the pilot of Grey's Anatomy in 2004, back in the Dizzle. I was in Disney World, and I got this audition, and I was like, oh, medical drama, that dialogue's going to be hard to memorize. Don't know if I'm clever enough. And then I read the pilot, and I'm like, this is amazing. It's definitely going to get picked up. And I actually auditioned for the role of Izzy Stevens.
Yeah, that's outstanding.
I'm not bitter, I'm fine.
She said,
I'm fine.
What year was it? What year did it start? 2004.
2004.
Like, it started that because I remember that it came on mid-season that year. Because I didn't start watching until like season 3. My wife watched it a little bit, and we had this thing, like we had exercise equipment out in the garage, which we've now converted into like a pool house thing. And I watch my crazy exploding action joints, and she watches her chick flicks. And whenever it turns out it's smarter than the genre, like the action thing is actually pretty smart, or the chick flick is actually just a really great romantic comedy or whatever, we stop it and walk in, and we're like, you need to watch this with it. And I remember distinctly, somebody had gotten her the box set of Grey's Anatomy. She started it, I think got like 2 episodes in, and came in and was like, we're going to watch this. Yeah. And I was like hooked. It was like everything. It was like serious drama and romantic comedy all popping at the same time, along with this medical thing. But it was like you get to do everything you want to do as an actor. She'd write speeches, monologues, right? These monologues. And as an actor, you're like, if you don't murder that monologue, it will murder you. Forget about egg on your face, like it will just.
If you don't murder that monologue, you're not going to get another one.
straight up. You know what I mean? The speed of it.
Those monologues are amazing.
They're the best, and Scandal had them in spades.
Totally, she's such a good writer.
with Aaron Sorkin and people like that really are one of the premier writers of the country. And I think if you get to, fall into that fold, as I've said to you many times, like that's a nice community to be working in.
It's the only time in my career that I actually called my shot and it worked out, where I said, I need to be on that show. Because I was looking at those monologues and I was like, that's as close as TV, that and Aaron Sorkin and David E. Kelly, are the closest that TV comes to classical stage monologues, like Shakespeare and Moliere, Chekhov. I'm like, you got to put on your big boy actor pants before you go try and tackle one of those monologues. And I was like, I want some of that. And then a few years later, it was literally, I think, like 2 or 3 years later that I ended up on the show and, got a shot. So it was
those monologues are like roller coaster rides. And you think, and I always know when one's coming and I'm like, oh, just put my seatbelt on.
Exactly.
Like, click. This is going to be a ride. Woo!
It's like being in the rave when you hear the DJ starting to rev it up a little bit. You're like, wait for the drop, wait for the drop, wait for the drop. And you go,
Totally.
Yeah, you know it's coming.
So good. Okay, I'm going to ask another fan question because a lot of people want to know this about you two, because clearly you've got a special relationship. But a lot of people want to know how and why you became friends and why you're have become #besties. Tell me.
Sean and I started writing into our contracts that we have to work together. No, we did a show together a million years ago called Off Center.
Okay, yeah.
Which was like literally one of those amazing shows that anybody that watched it, I guarantee you, if you saw an episode, you remember it. But other than that, nobody remembers it. Nobody knew that this thing happened. Yeah. But Paul and Chris Weitz got nominated for an Oscar for Writing About a Boy, and they were producers of it. It was loosely based on Chris Weitz's life. Danny Zucker, one of the executive producers of Modern Family, was also
one of the funniest
producers of it
ever to walk.
Sean, John Cho, Eddie K. Thomas, Lawrence DeMille, me. And so it was one of those things where everybody, so I always tell everybody that was my graduating class in Hollywood. Like, I think everybody, Bex, you tell me, don't you feel like there's some group, some project or whatever where you're like, I turned a corner in my maturity in this career?
Yes.
And, and those are your people that you go back to. You can talk to them. It's like the way I talk to certain friends from college. Sean and John and Eddie and Danny are that for me in Hollywood. Nice. Like, they get it before when I was, still scrambling. We had no idea if there was going to be a career to have after this.
And you're all still friends. Is that crew, you're all still friends now then, are you?
We're all still really tight because the others all had lives and friends. I just moved here and they were my only friends. And I was like, guys, listen, I'm cool and everything, but like, can we all be friends? Because I don't have any other friends.
I'm a bit lonely.
Like, I'm a bit lonely and I have no mates. So they all very kindly let me kind of hang out with their friends and family. And but then Jason and I,
but actually, I was the closest to the I think the outside, because I was the old married man.
So cool.
Well, you were a year married at that point, 2 years married at that point. You were like 2 years
married.
Got
married like I think we got married 2 years before that. Did we do the show in 2001? Because remember 9/11 happened while we were doing the show. Which was crazy in and of itself to try and go do comedy after 9/11.
Oh God.
Happened. Yeah, that was that was a weird one. But then so my wife and I think we've been married about 2 years at that point. And everybody else, had John had a girlfriend who's now his wife. But it was one of those things where a wife was a whole other level of, oh, you're a grown up.
It was a tough job to be in a relationship on. We were basically, and now it's terrible because now we live in a post-Me Too time.
There's no
way.
But
if you're a young man and you worked on the show Off Center, there's just this conveyor belt of really funny, talented, gorgeous women, and 2 or 3 of them every single week. So we were all like,
it's like a conveyor belt of hot chicks.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you're sort of trying to act as if, like, sure, I talk to, because it's a conveyor belt of just stunning gorgeous women. So it's a very odd thing. And we were all like high school boys that are just kind of like, hi, do you like bread? And then we ran off.
Wait,
there was
it-
one
well, how-
actress,
Jason was
one
how
actress
do
in
you watch
particular.
it?
So what?
How can anybody watch it now? Like, if anybody that's listening to this thinks, "Oh my god, I need to see these two hot guys together,"
it's on YouTube.
how can they watch
Yeah,
it? Really?
I know there are at least clips
on
on YouTube, if not full
YouTube.
episodes.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Sorry to interrupt. Carry on what you were saying.
No, I just remember distinctly one time going into hair and makeup, which, on every set is where everybody grab asses and jokes around and screws around for a little bit. It's like the beating part of set. And this one actress was in makeup at the time, and they were finishing up, and she was looking at these photos, and she was like, "Oh, Jason, come here, take a look at this. I do want to get your opinion." And she was a Playboy centerfold, and she was putting her calendar together. So look at these photos of me, and they're photos of her naked. And I was like, and it was one of those moments where you just thought,
You got me too.
literally, outside of like having a basically undressed woman on top of you while cameras are rolling, which is in fact my job. I'm good with that because somebody wrote that. That was the weirdest, like, my job is weird moment I've ever had in my life. I was like, you're really asking my opinion on this. This is okay. Well, I like the shading here and the light here is good. That's your smile is really great in that shot. That's a great shot.
Hang on, I lost you there.
Hello, I can hear you.
Was it Shaq's ex-girlfriend, that one?
So what?
Was it
Yes.
the girl that was Shaq's ex? Right, I remember her.
Yeah. But you would say things like Shaq's ex-girlfriend, that's basically like half of Hollywood, literally. So I don't know what
It's
that
not
means.
narrowed down the field enormously. I'm with you.
Yes, but I understood what you meant. I understood
But
what you meant.
I remember working with this girl because she was shorter than me. She was only about 5'6" or something. She was only a petite thing. And I was thinking, Shaq must be like 3 times the size of her. I mean, he's literally
You're like, how does
the biggest
it
man in the
work?
world.
How do they do
I'm
it?
like, that's good. I started going, something about this I don't understand.
I'm pretty sure
She's a very nice girl.
ladders are involved. I think ropes and
Some swings of
swings,
some kind.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Speaking of those days, I remember there was a time as we were getting to know each other, and I don't know if you know this, Bex, but the boys, there was another show on TV called the Jamie Kennedy Experiment.
Yes,
which was Jamie
yes,
Kennedy
I remember
tricking
that.
people and pulling stunts and things. Well, because it was on the same network as ours, they decided to do a bit of cross promotion and thought, let's get the boys from off center to play a trick on one of their fellow actors. Well, my friends, as I thought they were, all decided, I'm sure with some resistance, that they would prank me. And so they all got together and discussed what would wind me up to the point where I might make a bit of an arse of myself.
No, you?
Very, very nicely. They said it took a long time to figure out what it would do that would get me so upset, but they were like, maybe mock his accent, maybe, try this and try that. Jamie Kennedy the next day came to the studio as an actor in disguise, but of course, me being super smart, recognized him straight away. And then I went over to our producer, Danny Zucker, and I was like, isn't that Jamie Kennedy in disguise or not? And he was like, yes, it was supposed to be a trick to get you, but now that you know, you're going to have to trick them. Right, go. And I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then I saw Jamie kind of doing stuff that was to wind me up and the other boys playing along. And I was like, oh, okay. And then Danny said, look, just let it get you really angry and then maybe like throw a table or something. I was like, God. And so sure enough, then when I threw the table, the boys did not know that I knew that they knew that I knew.
We were all like, too far, went too far.
Messers became the Messies. And Jason's face and John's face and Eddie's face were like, oh God, what have we done? We've led our friend into this cul-de-sac where he's now made a fool of himself and he's thrown a table. And he's had a proper hissy fit, like just a complete moron.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I'd done that, Jamie Kennedy looked shocked too, like, oh God, this has gone too far. I don't know how to do it. Yeah. And then I revealed to them that I knew. And when you've been and did this really stupid thing, I regret enormously.
You completely got us, because when you threw the table over, we all genuinely thought for a brief second, this could be a career-ending moment. This could be one of those, like...
We've ruined Sean's career.
One of those moments of diva behavior where everybody's like, who's this dude? That was amazing.
Oh my
Our
God.
crew that we loved, the crew became our friends because we were all laughing so much making the show and had so much fun. The crew were
what
like,
fun.
these guys are having a ball and we all get to have fun. And then they saw me do this and they were like, oh no, they're going to send him.
Yeah.
He's fired.
That was a very special. I was unbearable for the rest of the day, wasn't I? I was literally.
Oh, you must have been so pleased with
most
yourself.
Annoying bastard on the planet.
Oh, I
Cheshire,
bet.
Cheshire Cat smile all day long. It was a pain in the ass for a solid 48 hours. For a solid 48 hours.
But
It
then
actually
after
cost me pain just to hear the story again. Just to hear the story again, actually.
Oh, I dined out on that for a while. I'm so glad that it's.
You still are?
On YouTube. I'm still dining out on it. I'm unbearably smug when it comes to this story.
It's a great story.
No, you did it though, because we thought we had you. We thought we had you, and then we thought we blew it up and went too far. But you know, you're smarter than the rest of us, McGuire. Is that what you want? Is that what you want to hear? You're smarter than the rest of us.
That's a really good prank. You know, when Sean and I do conventions and like, you know, we do panels, a lot of times Sean and I do them together and we get asked this question a lot. And a lot of people have asked us to ask you this, Jason, but they're really into practical jokes. Have you ever done anything to anybody on the show? Or has anyone done anything to you? Have you seen any where you just do something like that on either Grey's or Station 19 yet?
I mean, we've done, that one with Sean. I mean, we've done little things like, you know, we'll purposely, like, you know, we had one on Station 19 actually just this last season where on the show, there's tension between us and another shift because one of the guys on our shift slept with the wives of one of the guys on the other shift. And then that character, you know, got hurt. So they really hated us. So they came in and the whole scene is we're sitting in the kitchen and we're having a conversation. Then they walk in and everything gets tense in the room. And they walk in and they basically say, you know, if you want him to live, you better get out of here. And they walk in and they start the scene kind of as normal. And then they say the line. And the next thing I know, they all start snapping and go full on shots and jacks. Start doing a full West Side Story bit. And it had a little bit of choreography at it as well. Seriously. And we were like, what the, you know, so I don't know. I pride myself on not being too gullible. So I was half a second and then I jumped up and started snapping with them. You know, I was gonna go full, you know, Debbie Allen dance school. But
it's amazing.
A blooper reel on a DVD of Grey's Anatomy or 19 very quickly.
Yeah,
I love that you said. I love that you said.
Down, that was they knew that was on the reel.
Yeah. By the way, I love that Sean said DVD. It's so 2000 and late.
Are we not doing DVDs anymore?
I gave mine to Goodwill years ago.
I think you're right. You know what? I think I might be like that man from Up that's really reticent to change. I have like
I love my DVD player.
And you know what? I said to myself the other day, I was like, if the internet goes down, I'm going to look like a cheater. Because I have more DVDs.
I'll be all right.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Do you know what? All those mugs out there, all they need, they've got the pandemic, then the Wi-Fi goes down, they're finished. What I've got there.
I don't need Netflix, I'm all right.
I've got Blu-ray, I got DVD, I got everything,
Respect.
man.
Me.
I still
You'll be
got a
laughing.
Blu-ray player. I still got a DVD player because
you?
mainly because because of screeners. Because of screeners.
Oh, yeah.
Because I work on the SAG Awards, so I get this. So literally, I try and collect my collection of like the best movies of every year.
That's exactly what I think. And sometimes, like now, it's a good time to go back and you know, rewatch, because you watch a lot of movies in a quick space of time over like the Christmas holidays, and half the time I've had a couple of drinks and don't remember.
No.
No, seriously, that happens.
Who are you in 2020, Sean? I don't even recognize you.
I don't know. I don't even know myself.
Changed.
But yeah, I'm watching. I watched Reds the other night because a friend of mine's asked me to do like this.
What's Reds?
It's a movie directed by Warren Beatty in 1981, and it's about the rise of like the Bolshevik. It's really heavy. It's a 3.5 hour movie, and it's really heavy going, but very good. I'd rather just watch the last disc than both of them though, because it goes on a bit. But that's what I'm trying to do, is like watch some smart, cultured films so I don't feel like a sloth Do you know what I mean? So I feel like I'm doing something.
Well, we're trying to. Okay, Sean knows my oldest, my 16-year-old. He bought the Ingmar Bergman collection of DVDs. That's my 16-year-old.
Oh my God. Wow.
So when we do family movie night, we're like, hey, let's watch Bad Boys 2. Let's watch Fast and Furious. And he's like, let's watch Ingmar Bergman. And we're like,
honestly, Arun and his friend, this is true, I'm sure Jason won't mind me saying, last year when we got the screeners for this year, the Daniel Day-Lewis movie, what was it called? The P.T. Anderson film?
The Phantom Thread.
Phantom Thread.
Yeah.
He's 16. Now, that's a heavy movie for young people. Arun and his friends all got together, made dinner, watched the movie, decided it was the best movie of the year, and then all kind of did a dissertation on it. I mean, these are not normal.
God.
Yeah, he was 14 at the time. He's
what?
My kids are all like characters out of a sitcom. Like literally, they're each like a character unto themselves. In ways
how many kids have you got?
Somebody needs to write my life sometime.
How many children do you have? 2 or 3?
I have 3. I have literally all 3 birthdays, by the way, inside of the shutdown. The oldest turned 16, and then I have boy-girl twins that turned 12. And they're hilarious. Like those 2 are like literally like Wonder Twins, because if you melded them together, they are the perfect human being.
How
but
sweet.
They split it up in half so that it felt fair to the rest of the world.
Wait, so the oldest one is incredibly clever and cultured for his age and the massive character. What are the other 2 like?
My daughter is my jock. She's out there shooting hoops, and like, you know, like we go at ping pong, and she's like, and I'm like, okay, I actually have to play you. Like everybody else, I'm like, oh no, it's okay, try again, no, try again. And she's like, and I'm like, okay.
Jasmine actually lives up to her name. She's as beautiful as a Disney princess, but she's becoming so tall and so lithe. She's starting to look really athletic. She's like a Venus Williams kind of athleticism, but also the beauty of Tanya just waxed lyrical for about 10 minutes the other day. She's like, let me just tell you how beautiful Jasmine is and how much more beautiful she's already. And I was like, I'm totally in agreement. I'm in agreement. It's almost as if she was going to get some pushback. She was like, she's just beautiful, she's graceful. And I was like, I know, darling.
I agree.
But her twin brother is my brain.
Okay.
That kid, he's almost like he's not on the spectrum, but we wouldn't be surprised. Because he's like me as a kid. He literally as a kid walked into a pole. Like the pole didn't move. It was like we're walking in the clay, and he's just like, and we're like, it's been there for a while. That's.
Remember the last gathering that we had at your house? You had a couple, 2 guys, I forget their names, but we were talking about the political campaign and who we were liking. And Nikki was just like, Amy, was it Amy?
Klobuchar. He was all about some Amy Klobuchar early on.
I was like, Nikki, where's that come from? He's like, well, if you look at a platform and then you look at this, and had a fantastic argument. I was like, Nikki, where did this come from? And he's like, I've been paying attention. It's like, I've been here this whole time. Honestly, I'm the big, I said to Jason Van, I've told them this many times, we're like, I'm an enormous fan of how you do business in the real world. I like how you raise kids, how you manage to do it in Hollywood, but they're decent, kind, sweet, conscientious kids that give a damn and are smart. So basically, I just said to Jason Van, we're essentially going to copy your homework. We're going to just, whatever you do as parents, copy that and then hope for the best. You know, if it worked okay for you, maybe it'll work for us. So he knows.
Knockwood, none of them have threatened me in my sleep yet. So I believe that I think I've got it yet. I'm just saying.
I know, we're on lockdown, so it could still happen.
Yeah, there's time to screw it up.
Is it too early, Rebecca, to start asking some of our questions? I mean, I know we've been asking questions, but...
It is definitely time for me to just grab a drink out of the fridge. I know that much. Hold on.
I'm going to grab a drink too. And then we've got some serious questions for you, Jason George.
Okay,
serious questions
I can refill.
What do I have? Oh yeah, I've got a cider. Yay!
I'm gonna refill too.
All right, we're back.
Hi, I'm back in the room. I've got a fan question for you, Mr. George, from Mad Nephalite, sexy Instagram name. She wants to know, when are we going to see Sean as a firefighter in Station 19?
That's a good question. That is a real good question. As soon as
Because
possible.
we all
I
want to
have
see
an
it. We all need to see it, Jason.
I wish, I swear to God, I wish that I could have gotten them there when we did the firefighter calendar.
Oh, yeah.
Because they, you knew it was only a matter of time before they worked that in. And I would have, because when we did Off Center together, I swear to you, there was like one time, Sean, that you wore a crazy outfit, whereas that's all that I wore. I was shirtless literally 50% of the time, and on more than one occasion wearing leather short shorts because of somehow, don't ask, just somehow, Danny's
just gonna go with it.
Funny to
Flop
see
YouTube right now.
Yeah.
Google.
There was. Do you remember this? There was one
filled
episode.
out
I don't even remember what the scenario was. I just remember that me, John, and Lauren all come walking in leather, like she's in a leather bra and panties, and I'm in a leather and it just. I think John was in a leather vest, and
arseless chaps, I think.
Yes, yes, and literally it's.
That's
these are the moments where you read that in the script and you go and you just look at the writers like, really, really, and they go, it's professional. We're just writing the funny. I just need you to do it. It's just we're not. I don't personally find it funny. I'm not mocking you. I just want you to do it. So I'm not mocking Sean. I just want to see him in the firefighter pants with suspenders and no shirt.
But you don't even need him to be on Station 19 for that. You guys can just do it like on a Tuesday, It doesn't need to be on TV, does it?
That's what America wants.
You can do it in the privacy of your own home. My only request is that you do it on Instagram Live for all of us.
Of course.
I got you, Bex. I got
you. Generation. Right, Bex, have you got more fan questions?
I do. I've got one from, I've got another question from @ChunkyMonkey07, and they want to know, how is your quarantine going?
Quarantine's been good. I mean, look, I got 3 kids that, by law, I should be ready to just commit suicide and jump out of a 3rd-story window. But they've been pretty great, so quarantine's not been that bad.
Okay, good.
When the weather's been good in Los Angeles, when it was raining in Los Angeles, that got a little rough. Like quarantine,
that was real.
You can't even go for a walk outside or anything like that. But when the weather's nice, it's LA. It's we've been able to make it a little bit more like a vacation.
Okay, I've got another one from @Team Perilla. What is the first thing that you're going to do when all of this is over? First thing.
Either we're having a barbecue or going to a barbecue with friends, and we're going to be. I'm going to break 6 feet. I'm actually going to touch another human being that's not in my family. That's. Are you going
to be an arseless chaps as well?
I'll be an assless chaps when it happens. Actually, I'll just run down the street, and assless chaps hugging everybody I see.
It'd be great for ratings if you put that on your social media.
Right. How to get fans thirsty.
I've got a really good question from @SimpleRachel, because I actually really would like to know this one, so that's why I wrote it down. What's your favorite hangover snack when you've had a bit of a rough night with Sean the night before?
Are you talking about my hangover remedy, like what I'm doing for breakfast to try and get over the hangover, or when I got the munchies?
Well, she did say snack. She did say snack, but anything that makes you something preventative, so you don't feel like shit the next day.
After Sean has dragged me into some kind of ridiculousness, which is always his fault. It's not me. It's usually McGuire who leads the way. You know this, Ben.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
It's all your fault, Sean. You know that.
Everything is his fault.
Literally blue chips, which are technically organic but super salty. That and a truckload of water. I can pretend like they're healthy because they're made just out of corn, but I can down a bag at 3 a.m. by myself without even blinking, and the salt makes me want to chug some water. So it's getting some water in the system to help
rehydrate.
It out. In the morning, it's a lot of eggs and some ham.
And then the only thing that works for me is hair of the dog. And I learned that in Las Vegas. Next question. Sean and I were both asked, people asked Sean this on his Instagram and mine, and loads of people asked this question. And Sean and I get asked this question, like a slight variant of it. We always get asked, if we could be another character on Once Upon a Time, what would we be? But a lot of people want to know that if you, Jason George, had been on Once Upon a Time, what fairy tale character would you like to have played?
Ever since I was a kid, I think I was like 7 or 8 when I found out that there were a lot of black pirates. And most history books kind of skipped over that. So in my heart of hearts, I'm either a superhero or a pirate. Probably both, to be real. I'd have been Hook. I'm saying I'd have been Hook in a heartbeat.
Don't tell Colin. Sean, do not tell Colin. He'll cry.
No, you tell Colin. You tell Colin. I'm coming for his.
It's a hook off. It's a hook off.
Ooh, Colin's
it's
stomach
going down.
shifted uneasily in his bed, knowing that there was a plane.
Goodbye, job security.
He's losing sleep right now. He knows. He knows.
Let's wake him up. It's the middle of the night.
I'm just going to go to a convention. I'm just going to go to a convention as Hook and see what happens.
You know what else I think, and this reminds me of something else I want to talk to you about before we finish, your political aspirations, which we've talked about at length. In fact, I haven't talked about, I basically pestered Jason and said, I think you're going to become the governor, and then I think maybe one day you'll run for president. And he was like,
Max, let's be clear. I don't have aspirations. Sean just tells me you're going to do this one day. And I keep
Let me guess. It's in an evening, and then all of a sudden it's 3 a.m. and you're eating blue chips.
Yeah,
no,
like that.
You know what it was? I actually texted weeks back, I don't know, I've lost track of time. And I said to him, it's during the day, and I'm noting that it's during the day. I have not been drinking or consuming anything. I have this strange feeling that you're going to get into politics. Am I crazy? And he was like, yeah, man. And then when I went over and I spoke to his wife, I said, Van, is this a crazy idea? And she was like, well, I don't want him to get into politics, but... And looked at him and he was like, well, and I was like, ah. So, I'm just saying, if you see in the next 20 years or 15 years, mayor or governor of California, Jason George, just know, this was called very early by Maguire, not just a hat
talking about
I'm telling you, Jason, do you remember Mayor Goldie Wilson in Back to the Future? He was sweeping the floor, and Marty McFly came and said to him, Mayor Goldie Wilson, and he said to himself, Mayor Goldie Wilson, I am Marty McFly, and you are Goldie Wilson.
There I was cleaning up Sean's table when I said, what? Governor of California?
I can see
Suddenly
it.
I'm like straight out of Gone with the Wind.
Like brothers, I'm going to clean up this town.
You've got my vote.
I'm telling you, there, you heard it first.
There you go.
Thank you. All right.
I like that.
Now I'm going to hit you with another really, really tough soul-searching one. Cake or pie?
Pecan pie. Pecan pie. If it's Thanksgiving and there's no pecan pie, screw you, I'm out. That's how it goes.
What motto or creed do you live by? I think I know this. I feel like we could do Mr. and Mrs. and I could answer all these questions for you. But
you know this one?
I think I do.
My wife hates this / loves it. You know, she knows it and she kind of hates it because ultimately my credo is kind of it's better to ask forgiveness than permission. So and she's like, don't do that shit with me.
No, I like that. You're like, you're married, and we have 3 babies. So I know your wife pretty well. I think she knows she's all right. All right, now this is a tough one. Would you rather be abducted by aliens or swallowed by a whale?
Aliens all day. I don't know how that goes. And you know what? You want to probe me? I'm good with that too. We'll get a little freaky with it. It's all good. I have a pair of assless chaps. I have a pair of assless chaps. You can make it a good time.
I think I know the answer. But who has been the biggest influence in your life? It can be in any way you want to take it. Obviously, the answer is Rebecca, or every answer is secondary.
It's lame as hell, but to be real,
it's
my mom is the shit. My mom is the matriarch, and she's pretty freaking amazing. I mean, she raised 3 sons all by herself. We're all bigger than her. Anybody who's met her knows she's like the sport. You know, my friends fear her a little bit, and I get it.
I love her and adore her, but I'm scared shitless of her.
Yeah, quick story about my mom, just to explain this real quick. I'm in 2nd or 3rd grade. A couple of kids jump me at recess or whatever, get into a fight, and pat on my own back. I won the fight, but we're in 2nd and 3rd grade, so it's not like that means anything, right? Point being, I'm not hurt. I end up we all three of us in the office. And this is back in the day. So the vice principal, I remember, had his paddle in his hand and he couldn't use it anymore. And I knew that because my mom was a teacher, right? She was a teacher. I knew he couldn't actually hit us with the paddle, but he had it because he wanted to scare us. And he was like pointing at the kids. And I'm sitting there because I'm like, they jumped me, so I'm good. Plus, I won the fight. So I'm like, I get to sit here and laugh or y'all get yelled at by the principal. This is fantastic. And then the principal goes, what are you laughing at? And he hit my foot with the paddle. And I thought, oh, you're going to regret that shit. You're going to regret that shit. I'm going to see your life. I told my mom what happened. I swear to you, the next day I walked into school. My mom drove me to school the next day, walked in with me. I was wondering why. And the vice principal walked up to us and made a point of stopping and apologizing to me personally with my mom standing right there. I've never had a teacher or a principal who was not afraid of my mom. It's the most hilarious thing in the world.
There's no reasonable human. And it's not that she's a fearful person. She's an amazing, wonderful, kind, lovely person, but she has the gravitas and the kind of don't fuck with me thing that you just, anybody, it doesn't matter what language you speak, you'd come near and go, we should probably not fuck with her, right? But we must push on. We must push on. What gives you hope?
It's become cool. It became cool again. For a while, it was not cool to be smart and to care. And it has become ultimately cool. This generation has made it cool to be smart and to care about what's happening to the environment and politics, to just give a shit. Whereas when, back in the day, in the 80s, it was like, if you actually cared about something, the less you cared, the cooler you seemed.
Totally.
Whereas now, it's like, if you actually don't care, you're the asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like this, and that makes me hopeful. I mean, there's a ledge where everything has to be perfect. And so there, even with like doing a good thing, you can have too much of a good thing where if you have any flaws, they'll eat you alive. And, you know what I mean? That's a problem, but that gives me a lot of hope that people actually care and are trying to fix stuff now.
Yes.
And I think that was beautifully displayed in the remake movie 21 Jump Street. I don't know if you've seen that movie, but it explains how children are much more conscientious nowadays, and it's okay to wear a backpack on two shoulders.
You joke, but I literally, you're kidding, but I had this conversation.
We couldn't do that back in the day.
They made a joke of it, but it's real talk,
You couldn't do that. At my school, you had to wear it. At my school, you had to wear it on one shoulder or someone would punch you in the face for being a loser. And I always wore my rucksack on my left shoulder. And still to this day, it hurts.
Yeah. There's an entire generation of droopy shoulders, an entire generation of hunchbacks because of some bullshit, All
right. Wait, I've got one last silly question to ask you, and then I've got one last
Nothing
serious
silly, Sean. Nothing silly.
Okay. Would you rather be able to, like Neil Armstrong, walk on the moon, or would you like to be able to have the ability to talk to animals? What do you want in your epitaph? There goes the great Jason George.
Is it to be like Lance Armstrong and pass any piss test that you're given, any drug test that I'm ever given?
No, Armstrong. Neil.
Neil Armstrong. Got you. My bad. Sorry. I want to get it back. Talk to animals or walk on the moon. Wow, that actually is a hard one.
One of those.
That is a hard one, but okay, you know what though? I got to be real. I think I got to walk on the moon. I want to know what the animals are saying, but I want to see the big blue marble from all the way out there.
We'll get it. Yeah, we'll get it. We'll figure it out. Because, if they have anything interesting to say, they'd have told us by now. Do you know what I mean?
Besides, the chimps are like 5 minutes from talking to us anyway, and the dolphins have been talking for a couple of decades. We just can't understand because we're too stupid, right?
So we can just fuck what they want to say. We get it, dolphins. Click, click, click.
So I'm gonna kiss Elon Musk's butt, and I'm gonna make it to the moon sometime.
Well,
soon.
Do you know what? You've just led me unwittingly to my next question. Well, I wasn't going to ask this one, but now that you brought on Elon Musk, I have a question here from somebody. If you could have Elon Musk or Bill Gates or one of these clever men invent something that has not yet been invented, what would you like them to invent? Now, sky's the limit, whatever you want, your imagination, boundless. What invention would you like that you can have, they deliver it tomorrow and you go, great, there's that, got that, now we can We can make.
We can move on.
Okay. Okay. Now the lame, like, wanted to be, thought of, love science part of me immediately goes to cold fusion, because that's energy for everyone on the planet forever without having to burn up our environment to do it. That's the lame version. The cool
I wanted a
version
machine
is,
that patted me on the back, but you want to save mankind. That's
what was yours?
a machine that just pats me on the back.
Yeah.
Just constantly just does that.
Can we get a vaccine for COVID-19 first?
So yeah, a little something, little something to pass around.
Good boy, Sean. Good job.
Well, but my fun one is I want a personal jetpack. I want to be able to fly.
Yes.
Respect.
No, I take it
get
back. Not
that.
just a jetpack. I want Falcon's wings. I'm talking to you, Anthony
Cool.
Mackie. That's right. You heard me, Mackie. I see you.
We didn't even talk about this. He's going to be the first black Captain America. Did we talk about this? I've forgotten.
We have
He's
not
going to be
talked
the first
about
black
this.
Captain America. I got very excited. Because me and Jason have had this conversation that goes 20 years back, and I know how much it means to him, and I've seen things differently through his eyes. It's like, you don't know what it's like. No superheroes were black. So being a kid, you've got to root for Superman or Batman or Spider-Man or whatever. They're all white. Like, if you're black, you want to see a black superhero. And when I heard him say, yeah, I'm going to be like Captain America, I was like, and I love Anthony Mackie. He's such a cool actor.
He's dope.
And he's going to be
He's dope.
first. I was
so
like,
cool.
I almost got emotional, and I thought, I've got to call Jason George, because it was like, I don't know, it was an important thing. It was
And
just,
on top of it, look, my dad was military. My dad was military, and I grew up in a big military town. So, like, I'm a stupidly patriotic guy, while at the same time being a black man in America. So I'm patriotic, but have, like, painfully firsthand knowledge of the problems that are inherent in the history of this country. And hopefully we can better them for the future. That said, I loved Captain America. And then when Captain America, they turned, it happened in the comic books first. Falcon became Captain America for a while in the comic books. And I was like, that is super dope. And that made me even like Captain America more. Then they made the Miles Morales Spider-Man, a black Spider-Man. And that was, geeked out. But I will say this, my entire career in Hollywood, every black writer I come across, I would walk up and I would say, when we got to know each other a little bit, I'd be like, so let me ask you a question. You got a Black Panther script in your pocket? And I swear to you, there was no black writer, at least no black male writer, because every black male writer was a comic book geek as a kid. They don't want to admit it, but they were. It's just facts. They had a Black Panther idea, concept for a Black Panther script. Every single one of them, from John Ridley to Tim, everybody had one in their back pocket. But Coogler killed it. And so that for me is Anthony Mackie is the icing on the cake, that we got the superhero that, like, destroyed that, like, just wrecked the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is Black Panther. And no, by the way, America's patriotic hero is a black guy.
My last question, and then we will let you go back to all of the options that you have available to you during this quarantine period.
Couch or chair?
Is from, and this is a bit of an ode to the late, great James Lipton, who passed away recently, as you probably know, from the Actors Studio. And he always would ask his questionnaire at the end from the great Bernard Pivot. And one of my favorite questions on that questionnaire was, when you get to the pearly gates, what would you like to hear God say to you, Jason George?
I'd like God to look at me and go,
I'd
look at me and go, not bad.
Not bad.
Pretty good.
I'm looking for high praise. Not looking for high praise. I figure if the big G looks through those.
I think there's being passed back on the rhymes, and then getting a not bad from God, and then like Al Pacino saying, I liked you in that movie. In those order, that's how it goes.
Yeah. Best, you have actually, no, both of you have this. Both of you have an energy that attracts people. You know what I mean? You bring an energy out of people that makes them want to have fun, that makes them want to be positive, that makes them want to have a conversation and talk silly stuff. You know what I mean? And so you weren't so drunk that came through that night. I didn't know you were drunk that night. Yes! But no, I was like, I remember like literally going, I was like, thanks. Let's keep that Bex around. Let's keep her in the mix. She makes the cut. She gets the hang.
Never a dull.
Sean, though, we're not so sure about.
I understand.
You have a Shaq-sized heart in a leprechaun-sized body.
In a Kevin Hart-sized body.
There's a visual.
Right?
I'm sure Kevin will be okay with that.
He'll be thrilled.
Why gotta be like that all the time? Why you gotta talk about my size?
Well, listen,
This was fun.
this was so much fun. And
a blast.
Jason, I love you. Thank you, brother. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for being our first guest, because we don't know really what we're doing. We don't even know if we're doing this, but I guess we're sort of doing this. And I couldn't think of anybody better to get us started. And I really appreciate you giving up all the time that you could have been out roller skating.
I love you like a
Yeah.
brother. I love you too, Bex. But Sean, I'll
love
just
you
say, you know,
too.
I'm happy to take your virginity. I'm happy to be the one to come.
You
in
just
and-
popped at home with Sean and Bex's cherry. So
and-
we're not virgins anymore, Shawnee.
I-
We're not virgins anymore.